Welcome back, guys. This is the second video in our Intro to Rock Climbing video series, and as promised, we're going over rock climbing grades. As a newcomer to climbing, I heard people talk about how they could climb V6s, or they just hit this sick, 511C or whatever, and it just sounded like gibberish to me. So today we're just going to cover rock climbing ratings and grading systems, and we're going to start with the YDS, or Yosemite Decimal System. So the Yosemite Decimal System was adapted and developed from a system used in the 1930s to classify the difficulty of hikes and climbs throughout the Sierra Nevada mountain range, and has since been adapted as the American standard for rating the difficulty of climbs. So 1 through 5 spans from really simple just hikes to needing gear to avoid injury. And that's about where we come in. Sport climbing starts at about the 5.4 range and continues all the way up to 515. It starts out easy but quickly gets harder, and as you may have noticed, at 510 it actually breaks down into 4 subcategories for each number. And don't be fooled into thinking that each of those letters just represents a smaller subcategory in rating. That's as big of a gap as 5.8 to 5.9 or 5.9 to 5.10. So don't be bummed if you can hit a 5.10A and not a 5.10B. Also, keep in mind that these ratings are definitely a little subjective because they're based off the hardest move in the route. People have different advantages and disadvantages based on their height, body type, and climbing style. So depending on how many opinions went into the route setter's rating, and even things like the time period they set it, can all add variance to the rating. For example, yesterday I met up with this super chill climber named Heidi and her cute puppy Baxter, and we hit up Prophecy Wall. I'd never actually been there before. It's a wall in St. George, Utah. I decided to hit it up while I'm visiting my brother and sister-in-law down here, and it was a blast, don't get me wrong, but the ratings seemed way higher than they should be. I did a 510A and it felt like a 5.8 pretty much. Like no part of it was remotely challenging, but it was a lot of fun because it was just such a beautiful climb. So yeah, ratings definitely aren't perfect, but they do give you a good general idea, and if you need more input, try using the Mountain Project app because you'll get plenty of comments underneath each route that'll help you figure things out. Anyway, the YDS system is open-ended, meaning that we continue to push the boundaries and the ratings as rock climbers progress. In fact, that happened about a month ago with Adamandra setting the world's first 515D. The climb is just nuts. If you're a beginner, you'll probably be climbing in a 5.7 to 5.9 range. So just get out there and have fun. And if you want a more in-depth explanation of the YDS system, I feel like this article I found on coloradomountaineering.com was probably the best explained one I've seen. So check it out. And let's go ahead and move on to the V scale. Hueco Tanks State Park, Texas, a remote desert area known for its springs, wildlife, historical pictographs, artifacts, and of course, climbers. Despite originally attracting sport climbers in the 1980s as the sport developed, those who came for the roped routes in the cooler seasons were attracted to the nearby boulders that faced east, so they were warming up quicker in the morning sun and provided shorter challenges that didn't require a rope for safety. And people like that. In fact, in the words of John the Vermin Sherman, they went down to Hueco to rope climb, but fell in love with bouldering. And it turns out this Vermin dude is more than just a funny nickname. He's the founder of the standard American bouldering rating system, the V scale. As you've probably figured out, it was named after his rad nickname Vermin, and was actually suggested by Chalkstone Press, which was the publisher of his guide to the climbing routes in Hueco Tanks. He reluctantly agreed, and climbers in the area adopted both the rating system as well as his use of crash pads. And so with a way of measuring both difficulty of routes and their own personal progress, as well as reduced injury with crash pads, bouldering really started to pick up, and lo and behold, modern American bouldering was born. Now the V scale is open-ended, meaning that it can continue to grow based on human achievement. But as of now, I believe it goes from V0 to V17, which is absolutely insane, by the way. Let's say you're a beginner at a bouldering gym, you'll probably want to just try out, start with a V0 or V1 and just see how difficult it is. Near the bottom of the wall there should be labels by a certain color letting you know the difficulty of the route. Then it's just a matter of trying to get to the top using only that color. As you can see on this comparison chart, Bouldering does start quite a ways up there as far as climbing difficulty, but that's because it's over a much shorter distance, allowing you to work on fundamentals, technique, and strength in a more quick and efficient way. They'll typically require more strength as well as more dynamic movement than you'll use on a typical sport climbing route. Some people say the difference between ratings feels exponential. While that's not exactly true, it is a big gap, so don't be mad if you're not able to quickly progress from one rating to the next. It does take time. Sometimes you'll see someone doing something and be like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. And then you get up to the wall and realize they were basically climbing upside down on a piece of glass and you suck. Okay, no, that's how I feel. But that's okay, I haven't put in the time and training yet. Anyway, I sure hope that this helps anyone new out there to just understand the ratings better, rating systems, and I do realize that there are plenty of other rating systems used throughout the world, but for now, with most of my rock climbing viewers being local, I believe, I'm going to focus on the American rating systems right now. If you do want me to cover other systems, let me know. I'm happy to. The good thing about such a small channel is if you request something, I'm probably going to give it to you, so just let me know. Well, I feel like I have a good foundation now in the basics of rock climbing and bouldering, so I'm about to start the hardcore training phase for the next couple months in rock climbing. I'm getting a membership, and then you'll start seeing training vlog videos and updates on me trying to apply advice and techniques from pro climbers and really see how much I can progress. Well, that wraps up this video. Next up, climbing fundamentals, technique, and after that, conditioning training exercises. Stay tuned for those. Peace. Now the rope's wrapped around there. I'm going to try and climb up and whip it around.
Whoa.